I stood there, frozen, as I watched my mom smile at our overnight guests and say, "Oh, of course, you can use Charlotte's bed. She doesn't mind sleeping on the floor." My heart sank. My bed, my room, my privacy, all gone in a split second, without anyone even asking me. I forced a polite smile in front of the guests, but inside, my stomach twisted with humiliation. When they all went upstairs to settle in, I was left standing in the living room holding a spare blanket like some unwelcome visitor in my own house. I wanted to scream, cry, and run away all at once. That night, as I lay on the hardwood floor staring at the ceiling, I made myself a promise. This would be the last time I'd let my mom treat me like I didn't matter. What would you do if your own mom gave away your bed and made you sleep on the floor in your own house? Tell me in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories. Before that night, my life was simple. I'm Charlotte Reed, 19 years old, a college student still living at home to save money. I share the house with my mom, Darlene, and my younger brother, Tyler. Mom has always been the kind of woman who loves hosting guests. She thrives on looking like the perfect hostess. But sometimes, her idea of hospitality crosses the line. I've always been a quiet, respectful daughter. I do my chores, keep my grades up, and mind my own business. So when I heard we were having distant relatives visit, Mom's cousin and her husband, I didn't think much of it. But that evening, when they arrived unexpectedly early, everything turned into chaos. Mom bustled around the house, showing them the freshly cleaned living room, offering them dinner, and bragging about how family-oriented we are. Then she dropped the bomb. She was giving them my room, my personal space, without even talking to me. I stood there stunned, my mouth half open, but she was already stripping my bed and piling my pillows into her arms. Charlotte grabbed the extra blanket. "You'll be fine on the floor for one night," she said like it was the most normal thing in the world. It wasn't one night. That first night was miserable. Every time I shifted, the wooden floor dug into my back. I could hear my cousin and her husband laughing in my room, sleeping soundly on my mattress while I lay awake, wondering how this was fair. The next morning, I tried to talk to Mom about it. "I don't think it's right that I had to sleep on the floor," I said softly over breakfast. Mom didn't even look up from her coffee. "Don't be dramatic, Charlotte. They came a long way. You can handle a little discomfort." Her words cut deeper than she realized. A little discomfort? My back ached, I barely slept, and I felt invisible in my own home. But Mom kept dismissing me. "Be grateful we even have guests," she said with a smile that felt like a slap. The second night was worse. Tyler refused to share his room, and Mom still insisted the guests stay comfortable. Again, I slept on the floor, this time with a thin pillow and my dog curled at my feet. I started to feel like some extra piece of furniture being shuffled around to make space for more important people. By the third day, my frustration turned into simmering anger. I started avoiding Mom, staying out late, eating dinner in silence. She noticed but brushed it off as teenage attitude. Inside, though, I was done being treated like an afterthought. I kept thinking, if she can embarrass me in front of guests, maybe I should return the favor. That night, while everyone was asleep, I sat on the living room couch with my laptop glowing in the dark. I started researching creative ways to set boundaries with controlling parents. Article after article told me the same thing. Sometimes you have to make people uncomfortable to make them realize they crossed a line. I smiled to myself. Mom loved her reputation as the perfect hostess. She hated anything that made her look like a bad parent. If I wanted to teach her a lesson, I knew exactly where to hit, right in her image of perfection. I quietly planned my move. No screaming match, no begging. Just a clever, polite move that would make everyone, including the guests, see how unfair this had been. The more I thought about it, the calmer I felt. For the first time in days, I slept peacefully, still on the floor, but with a small, satisfied grin. The next evening, just before dinner, I put my plan into action. Mom had set the table beautifully, like she always does. As we all sat down, I spoke up in my calmest, sweetest voice. "I hope you all slept well in my bed last night," I said, smiling at the guests. "I barely slept. The floor is pretty hard." But I guess it's worth it, so you guys could be comfortable. The table went silent. My cousin's husband shifted uncomfortably, clearly embarrassed. My cousin looked at Mom with wide eyes. Mom's face turned bright red. "Charlotte," she hissed. But I wasn't done. I pulled out my phone and casually scrolled through pictures. "Oh, and look, here's how I slept." I showed them a picture I had taken of myself on the floor, wrapped like a burrito in the thin blanket, my pillow on the hardwood. The guests exchanged awkward glances. "Oh my goodness," my cousin said softly. We didn't realize we could have taken the pull-out couch downstairs. Mom's perfect hostess act cracked. She stammered something about wanting them to feel welcome, but I just smiled politely and said, "I'll be sleeping in my room tonight." No one argued. After dinner, I walked upstairs, shut my door, and finally reclaimed my bed. I slept like a queen. Lying in my bed that night, I realized this wasn't just about a piece of furniture.
It was about respect.
About not being treated like my feelings didn't matter just because I was the kid in the house. My mom had always believed that sacrificing for guests was a virtue, but she had never asked if I was willing to make that sacrifice. By showing her and everyone else what it felt like to be disregarded, I forced her to see me not just as her daughter, but as a person with boundaries. It wasn't easy. A part of me worried I had embarrassed her too much. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized this wasn't about revenge in a cruel sense. It was about standing up for myself. For the first time, I felt like my voice had been heard. Things changed after that dinner. Mom didn't apologize right away, but I noticed she started knocking on my door before coming in. When guests came over again a few months later, she asked me if I was okay with them using my room, and even offered to set up the pull-out couch instead. It felt like progress. Our relationship is still a work in progress, but now I don't hesitate to speak up. I realize that you can't wait for people to value you. You have to teach them how to treat you. That moment, as awkward as it was, gave me the confidence to stand my ground in other parts of my life, with friends, professors, even at work. Sometimes the smallest battles, like fighting for your bed, can teach you the biggest lessons about self-respect. Sometimes revenge isn't about hurting someone. It's about showing them you won't let them walk over you again. My little stand at the dinner table changed the way my mom sees me forever. Have you ever had to teach a family member a lesson like this? What would you have done if you were in my shoes? Tell me in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories about standing up for yourself.